What's up, everybody? Invincible Season 3 has come to a close, and so we've got one more episode to dive into. It's time to break down the Season 3 finale. It's Conquest Week, and this fight did not disappoint. Mark holds his own for a second, but once he's smashed to the ground, it turns for the wars, just like the book. They go pretty much word for word too, with the changes just being, dialogue updates almost to modernize it, with the fight in the books too, at least here at the start of our Glenn versus Negan rematch. One of the changes Kirkman made during this fight was the addition of Conquest, blowing that blood bubble up in space, shaping it into a heart, and popping it. It's my single favorite addition they've made when adding on to what's in the books and just a cold scene in general. Then one of the more interesting changes to me, and maybe this is a non-factor at the end of the day, but it did stand out to me, is when the Grayson family sees the fight on TV. Oliver doesn't just shoot out of the room like he does in the books, he starts to, but here, Debbie was able to stop him first to give her hesitant approval, and I think I might go back and do a video on how Season 3 handled Oliver versus how the book did in this portion of the story. Let me know if you guys want to see that down in the comments below. Anyway, Oliver arrives at the fight and meets the true power of Conquest earlier in the show than he does in the books as he goes in, knocks Conquest out for a second, and then he gets rocked. But the show was kind of just having him be more in control of his powers because he comes in flying all out of control in the books, and then in the books, like coming in out of control, he's still kind of more of a liability for Mark. At the same time, as this new fight wrecks even more after the Invincible War, Cecil rushes to get Sinclair's newest group of Reanimen, or even just one of them, out into the field. Sinclair's now using the corpses of the different Invincibles from the war to create his monsters, as this is far from the worst thing Cecil will do with the Viltrumite just in this episode alone. Back to the fight though, Oliver comes back and gets his shit rocked once again, but this was straight out of the books. Conquest bitch slaps Mark out of the fight and starts to tear Oliver in half. I think, on top of having my favorite addition in the show, this fight handled the changes to the books the best out of any big showdown in the first couple seasons. Another great change or addition, whatever you want to call it, that was made during this fight was once Mark and Conquest take the fight onto the water. In the books, when he tells him to look so he doesn't miss what happens, they just go through a Navy ship. But here, they just soar through a crowd on a beach, making the fight all the more bloody in this show. And I can't tell because we don't follow them like we did with Mark and Omni-Man when he puts him through the train, but I think they didn't even make contact with these people on the beach. I think it's just the sheer speed of this improved Mark and Conquest that just wipes the beach out. You can let me know what you think about that, but then Eve arrives at the fight, and this one is a genuinely minor complaint on my part. It's nitpicking, but they change her robo legs to just one robo leg, and it's the same one they use for everybody in the show that's injured. In the books, she's got double, she's got like a full leg and then an ankle thing, and it's her own design. It's not a big deal, it's just they do so much to try and make her as cool as Mark. They give her more fights, they give her more to do, and little details like this one are just a simple way to do that. That's all. They do ever put up a better fight against Conquest though, but it still ends the same way, with a big old hole in her stomach. There was another minor change I loved here too, Mark screaming for Cecil. In the book, he's just like, Cecil will come, don't worry, as he sits there with Eve, but it just raised the stakes for me with him screaming, because after everything, that's the one man he can call for help. The couple will need Cecil's help in a second here too, but first, Mark gets the second wind from his rage. Conquest also got some great dialogue he did not have in the book here, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was so fucking good in this role, especially when he just lets Negan's voice out of its cage. But Eve's alive, and her near-death experience unlocked her mind block that stops her from altering living things. She goes Phoenix mode, taking some of Conquest's skin off in the blast, and then Mark finishes him off despite being without his hands in the fight, but it's still just an all-time crazy move that Kirkman has Eve naked through all of this, and he has her naked through more here in this show as we see her like a mannequin when she's got her suit on during that part in the comic, and I'm with Cecil. All I've got to say about it is, huh, alright. Before I dive into the back half of the episode and what I expect to see in Season 4, I ask that you subscribe to the channel for the daily breakdowns, reviews, and the nerdy news weekly. Thank you once again for stopping by the channel, and let's get back to the episode. Mark wakes up in the hospital after being out for 3 days following the two fights, and the first thing he wants to do once he sees Cecil Stedman is see the body. He doesn't need another Engstrom-Levy situation, and he gets his confirmation, but what can I say? Cecil, he's a dirty bastard. Then, as if the physical pain of the fights wasn't enough, they've got to grieve their fallen comrade, Rexplode. I knew his funeral was coming, but I got so caught up in the fight that it snuck up on me and got me missing my guy Rex already. Robot misses him too, as he officially changes his name to Rexplode from Rudy in honor of his idol. But the funeral also brings Mark and Eve closer through their survival, and so of course they're headed back to Mark's room. Eve's upgraded her bazongas, and apparently we can see her as a mannequin naked, but she can't say she upgraded her tits when she was unconscious. But, more importantly, notice his suit is melting after she takes it off, as Eve's powers will be on the fritz in Season 4, and I'm going to leave it at that for the time being to avoid some spoilers for those of you who have not read the books. Season 3 came to a close as the Sequids prepare for their invasion from the sewers, Battle Beast is back on his feet, up in space, same goes for Angstrom Levy in the multiverse, and Cecil's dirty work is revealed with Conquest being in tungsten steel underground instead of solid tempered steel like in the books. Mark also finally goes to see Oliver in the hospital, which I always found was odd. He didn't do that before they leave and go to Rex's funeral, or even after he sees Conquest's body, but whatever. He confirms he's ready to kill anyone who threatens the people he cares about like that again. Then the final frame of the season is Damien Darkblood making his return. Welcome back Clancy Brown for what seems to be a new arc in this story. Robert Kirkman spoke about it actually, and he said, we never had Mark face off against the devil, and so now I guess it's happening in Season 4. But as far as this episode's concerned, I did think it was a good finale, but I did not think it was a great one. There was a big drop off for me after the fight, and I found myself doing what I was doing most of this season when I was looking forward to the Conquest fight as I looked forward to what's coming next, which there's some great stuff coming, so let's take a quick look forward to Season 4 before we finish up. We're gonna see, and for those of you who haven't read the books, don't worry, this is just a basic outline of the season. I'm gonna do a deep dive once we get closer, but we're gonna see Oliver age up once again. We'll get the Dinosaurus storyline, at least the initial stuff with it, and that's one I assume might get tweaked a bit for the show. Conquest does exactly what you're assuming he's going to do. I won't show you that one though. The Sequids invade Earth, and most importantly, at least to me, we're going to be diving deep into the true history of the Viltrumites. And so that's going to do it for my breakdown of the Invincible Season 3 finale. Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Conquest was simply incredible, and at least that fight lived up to the hype. Drop your thoughts on the finale though down in the comments below, smash that like button, and make sure you have a great day.